So, welcome to this video. In this video we'll talk about one really important thing, which is development of astral senses and communication with spirits. This video is the first part of my definite summoning demons for beginners tutorial, but astral senses development exercise can be used outside of summoning demons context. It can be used for any form of astral senses development, for any form of spiritual work. So imagine one big black sun radiating black rays penetrating your forehead where the third eye is. And also imagine two smaller black suns penetrating 2 points on your neck where the skull and the neck meet. So visualize black sun penetrating the third eye in your forehead, and also visualize two smaller black suns penetrating 2 places where your skull and neck meet, one on each side. So now I will shortly explain where you should visualize what through pictures you will see on the screen. You will see this big blue indigo point in the middle of the forehead. That's the third eye. That's the chakra in front of which you should visualize black sun penetrating this specific energy center with his rays. Do you see those 2 black points at the back of the head? Those are 2 black points behind which you will visualize 2 smaller black suns penetrating those 2 small points with their rays. I know that visualizing one big black sun penetrating your third eye and 2 smaller black suns penetrating points at the back of your head simultaneously is difficult, but I purposefully gave you this difficult visualization in order to force you to train focus and discipline. Without discipline, this meditation cannot be mastered, but once you master it, this is the most effective astral senses opening meditation I designed so far. It opens spiritual abilities to perceive energy really quickly, and it is really empowering. So once we know how you can open your astral senses, we'll also tell you incantation which you can use to boost this meditation. If you recite this incantation together with the visualization, you will greatly empower the effect. Incantation is Solis nigratie lashtavat. Okay, I don't recommend chant to be recited alongside visualization if you do not plan to summon any spirits, or if you are a complete beginner to magic and sorcery. If you want to open your abilities without some crazy shenanigans happening, just do the visualization until you feel headache, then pause, then continue visualization until you feel headache, then pause, then continue visualization until you feel headache, then pause, and that will last about 15 minutes. Do it 15 minutes before you go to sleep, and when you wake up, also do it for 3 minutes. So 2 times 15 minutes every day. That's half of an hour every day of this meditation. If you do it regularly, it will open up your abilities pretty quickly. These are side effects of this meditation. You will have weird trance experiences. You will have strong headaches. You can have financial increase, pain in your body removing, dizziness, dullness, and random flashes of light during the day. Those are side effects of this meditation. Nightmares and dreams can appear, and you can, if you do this really deeply, start seeing spirits which are around you immediately after the meditation. So those are the side effects. Now, when you know effects and side effects of this meditation, we can teach you raising of the sacred space for evocation of any dark spirit. But before we teach you raising of the sacred space in this video, the only thing I can say is that one should perform this exercise of Black Sun meditation 2 times a day, 15 minutes, for 4 weeks before attempting any form of evocation for the first time. Now, after we explained how astral senses development is done, then we can proceed to explain how you can raise a sacred space to summon any dark spirit. So, what I define by dark spirit? By dark spirit I define demons from Judeo-Christian mythology. So, in order to create a suitable sacred space for them, visualize the following. Visualize red moon radiating mix of red and black light above your head, where the crown chakra is, and vibrate. Luna nigratis ctonium. Also visualize the rays of those moon penetrating the edges of what you consider to be your sacred space until you can feel reddish black light radiating from the edges of the space to the point you can literally feel it. You can feel it only if you have your astral senses developed, and you can properly raise it only if you have astral senses developed. That's why I insist on astral senses development before any evocation is done. Sacred space is extremely important because you technically create an environment suitable for manifestation of the spirit. And in this video we will show you specifically how to summon Agrat Batmalat, one of the 4 demonic empresses. Agrat is best for beginners, but you can use this formula to summon any dark spirit. So after you feel the energy rising from the edges of your space, and after you definitely feel that atmosphere changed and that there is a barrier around your space and the space is fortified so no imposter or weak entity can appear, then start glazing into the sigil of the spirit you are trying to summon. I will specifically for this video show the sigil of Agrat Batmalat and use the name of Agrat in all-purpose chant to summon any demon. So, chant for summoning any demon is Ha, then name of a demon, and then Ha Shedi. So in the case of Agrat Batmalat, it will be Ha Agrat Batmalat Ha Shedi, Ha Agrat Batmalat Ha Shedi, Ha. So, how you should use the sigils. So you have here sigil of Agrat Batmalat as an example. Now, after you raise the sacred space, put the sigil in front of you, but don't look into any details of the sigil. Just focus on repeating of the chant for summoning a demon. And look at the sigil of demon of your choosing, without focusing on the lines. Repeat the chant over and over again while holding the sigil in front of your eyes comfortably. When the magical pressure stops being normal and starts building up, it means spirit is there. When you feel energy shift in the room, it means spirit is there. Then, instead of the focusing on the repetition of the chant, focus on increasing the pressure in the room and increasing that weird shift you feel, and just repeat the chant mechanically. Build that presence up as much as you can, and then give your requests to the spirit. Spirit is that shift in the room you feel. That's how you initially feel spirits, before you properly develop your senses. Now, once you give requests for the spirit, then relax and keep meditating. Don't think about anything. Leave for the spirit to put any thoughts or sensations in your head. The key about summoning spirits and noticing them is to drop out your rational mind. That's key in noticing what happens in the spiritual world. If you cannot drop your rational mind, your summoning of the spirit will not be successful to a full degree. That's why you focus on one thing, such as repetition of the chant, until you forget that you are repeating, and you start building the pressure, which means that you started summoning the spirit, and then focus on the pressure instead of repetition, and just repeat mechanically. Why is this the case? And this is the case because in order to drop your rational mind away, you need to be focused on a present moment. You need to be focused on here and now, and only here and now. Because spirit you are trying to summon will be present here, only in the present moment. I will tell you how this works. When you focus on one singular thing for long enough, your rational mind stops to function because he is not programmed to be focused on one singular thing for a long time. For that reason, even if you shortly repeat, chant with enough focus and focus only on that, your rational mind will drop, and your psychic abilities, which feel the presence of the spirit and the divine, will come into play, and they will notice the spirit. That's why, before you try to summon any spirit, you need to practice for a certain period of time visualization exercise in order to teach your mind to focus on a singular thing, and through this mechanic drop the rational limited mind functions and put the larger spiritual mind into play. So once you drop the rational mind and once the spirit is present, focus on a presence and give your request. You will find that in this strange state of consciousness, you are able to control your emotions at will. You become aware that you are able to observe your emotions, to observe your thoughts as external extensions which do not characterize and describe oneself. In this changed state of mind, transmute to the spirit the vision of reality you want to happen by pushing the energy of that type into the spirit. This only can be achieved once rational mind is decomposed and you feel all of your thoughts and emotions as extensions of yourself, which are just the product of your experience and not something which defines you as a person. If you, after presencing the spirit, achieve this state of detachment and push into the spirit emotion which will give you a certain result you want, spirit will absorb that emotion and then manifest later on what you wanted according to the imprint spirit received. It is fundamental to forget the ritual after the evocation in order to keep our rational mind from intervening with his thoughts into the metaphysical operation and manifestation we bestowed upon the spirit. By thinking about the end result after the ritual, we will direct our thoughts as an extension of our will in a matter which will disturb the manifestation of the desire we pushed into the spirit. But desire can only push into the spirit once we are able to have complete control over our emotions in that state of trance and detachment where rational mind is obliterated. So that's technically how you evoke spirits, and that's technically how you manifest what you desire through the spirits. State of detachment and forgetting is necessary for manifestation, because the purpose of rational mind is only to help us to survive in this physical reality. And rational mind is the greatest obstacle for a success of any metaphysical operation. Every metaphysical operation is in its nature completely irrational and completely primal, and dissolution of rational mind during metaphysical operation is fundamental for the success of the same operation and for the empowerment of the operator during it. Because once the rational mind is dissolved, you start thinking with the larger mind, to which all of the spirits and entities you are summoning belong to. You are tapping into larger field of consciousness, and that tapping, achieved through the dissolution of rational self, is something you need to reach. And you reach it through intensely focusing on one singular thing, which relates onto the spirit you are trying to summon. You dissolve your rational mind through fanatically repeating and focusing upon the seal of the spirit you are trying to summon. Through that focus, you break down and collapse your rational mind and tap into the higher reality in which spirit is actually able to communicate with you. So, once we know the mechanics of evocation and why it is necessary to look into the sigil and repeat the chant of the spirit, you can use all-purpose chants of the spirit and sigil of any spirit you desire to summon him and ask him your requests. It is fundamental to ask the spirit of the right office to do the right thing for you. Spirits good for manifestation of love are not equally good in manifestation of money, etc. You need to find a spirit who is capable of manifesting your desire and giving you the desired result you wanted. And for that, you need the right research and time invested into preparation for the operation. Magical tools, such as having candles of corresponding color and calling spirit in right day or the hour, also help. So, those are basic mechanics of evocation, how it works and why it works. So, once we understand that, I also need to say that for performance of this evocation, you only need to perform astral senses development exercise if you don't have astral senses developed first. Then, to raise the sacred space according to the instructions provided, and simply put the name of the spirit into all-purpose chant. Repeat it over and over again. And look into the sigil of the spirit in front of you. But actually, don't look into particular lines. Look through the sigil as if you are trying to hypnotize yourself. Because when you are trying to hypnotize yourself with the sigil, instead of focusing on the particular lines, you are actually dissolving your subconscious mind through intensely focusing on one thing without thinking about it. That way, you are imprinting the seal of the spirit upon the hidden layers of your soul, which gives a space to manifestation and communication with the spirit, with you, to take place. There is one other thing I need to worry you about and to warn you about. Before performing any operation which is concerning evocation and summoning of spirits. You need to perform some form of exorcism and to make sure that your space is clean from any spirits which are trying to malevolently intervene with your spiritual operation. This is fundamental because if you have parasites attached or other harmful entities, they can intervene in communication with the spirit or even falsely present themselves as the spirit you are trying to summon, which can seriously fuck you up. That's the reason why I recommend preparation of exorcism or some form of banishing ritual every day for the operator, in order for the operator to keep himself clean without any negative attachments of any negative spirits. I also recommend that the operator should indeed practice sexual abstinence and some form of fasting before evocation, because those two activities in two different ways increase our ability to perceive the spiritual. Fasting, especially a little bit extreme forms of fasting, activate some version of flight or fight response in our brain, and fight or flight response in our brain activates psychic abilities. Also, it weakens animalistic impulses, which makes magician more easier in focus. And we know that one extreme focus on a singular thing, object, chant, or something else, is fundamental for the solution of the conscious mind in order for spiritual communication to take place. However, sexual abstinence is beneficial for more different reasons. Sexual abstinence increases the amount of life force individual possesses within himself. That life force stimulates the energy centers which are responsible for feeling of spirits from within, which increases your ability to perceive spiritual entities and energies. That's the reason why majority of spiritual paths and traditions which exist for thousands and thousands of years recommend to the people who try to practice commune with the spiritual some form of sexual abstinence and fasting. I personally never got this entire obsession with a license to depart. For me, I just relax until the energy of the spirits dissipates from my space. And that's it. I was never obsessed with that license to depart thing. Some spirits are a little bit more, how I can say, aggressive, so you could have a useful banishing at hand. But for specific banishing and exorcism and things, I think you cannot make a template. I think every spirit should be approached individually. So I will make a video tutorial for summoning every spirit specifically I am interested in, for Nama, for Agrat, for Malat, for different goetic spirits. And once you build up the spirit, once you transmuted the intention and gave the request, simply meditate until the energy of the spirit dissipates, and then raise the sacred space again and end the ritual. That's it. There is a lot of complexity here. If you decided to call Agradvat Malat, the best days are the day of Jupiter and the day of Mercury, and the best nights are Tuesday night and Wednesday night. Those are the best nights. The best hours are the hours of Mercury, Jupiter, and possibly more. So, thanks you for watching and see you next